When people think about ancient Egypt, they usually picture pyramids, mummies, and pharaohs wrapped in gold. But the real Egypt, the one historians uncover piece by piece, is far stranger, darker, and sometimes downright unbelievable. This wasn't just a land of monuments. It was a civilization that lived with death every day, trusted animals as gods, practiced medicine that bordered on madness, and built technology thousands of years ahead of its time. Fact number 1. Ancient Egyptians used mummies as medicine. This one sounds fake, but it's disturbingly real. For centuries, not just in Egypt, but later in Europe as well, powdered mummy remains were believed to have healing powers. The substance was called mumia, and people thought it could cure everything from headaches to internal bleeding. Originally, mumia referred to natural bitumen used in embalming. But over time, that definition changed, and real human mummies were ground up and sold as medicine. By the Middle Ages, Egyptian tombs were being looted not for treasure, but for bodies. The idea was simple. If a body had survived thousands of years, surely it contained some kind of powerful life essence. Of course, there was no science behind it, just desperation, superstition, and profit. It's a chilling reminder that ancient Egypt didn't just influence its own time, it haunted the medical beliefs of the world for centuries afterward. Fact number 2. Workers who built the pyramids were not slaves. Despite what movies show, the pyramids were not built by whipped slaves chained together under the desert sun. Archaeological evidence tells a very different story. The builders were skilled laborers, farmers, craftsmen, engineers, who worked during the Nile's flooding season when farming was impossible. They were paid in food, beer, clothing, and housing. Excavations near the pyramids uncovered workers' villages complete with bakeries, medical facilities, and proper burial sites. Some workers even received tombs close to the pyramids themselves, a huge honor in Egyptian culture. If you were buried near a pyramid, it meant you were respected. This wasn't forced labor. It was national pride. For Egyptians, building a pyramid wasn't just construction. It was a sacred duty tied directly to the afterlife. Fact number 3. Ancient Egyptians were obsessed with bad breath. Bad breath wasn't just embarrassing in ancient Egypt. It was considered spiritually unclean. The Egyptians believed the mouth was a gateway to the soul, and foul breath meant internal imbalance or even divine displeasure. So they created one of the world's first breath-freshening remedies. These weren't mints like today. They were small pellets made from honey, myrrh, cinnamon, and frankincense, ingredients also used in religious rituals. In other words, fresh breath wasn't just about attraction or hygiene. It was about purity. Even high-ranking officials and priests were expected to maintain clean breath before speaking publicly or performing ceremonies. It's strange to think that something as ordinary as bad breath could be seen as a spiritual problem. But in Egypt, everything had cosmic meaning. Fact no. 4. Ancient Egypt had pregnancy tests. Thousands of years before modern medicine, Egyptian women used a pregnancy test that actually worked, at least some of the time. The test involved urinating on 2 bags of grain, barley and wheat. If the barley sprouted, it supposedly meant the baby would be a boy. If the wheat sprouted, it meant a girl. If neither grew, the woman was believed not to be pregnant. Shockingly, modern studies suggest this test could detect pregnancy hormones and had an accuracy rate of around 70%. That's better than random guessing. While they didn't understand hormones, the Egyptians observed patterns and they trusted them. It's proof that ancient Egyptian medicine wasn't just superstition. Sometimes it was surprisingly close to science. Fact number 5. Egyptians worshipped animals and killed for them. Cats, crocodiles, ibises, bulls. Many animals were believed to be physical manifestations of gods. Killing a sacred animal, even accidentally, could result in death. The historian Herodotus recorded cases where Roman soldiers were lynched by Egyptian mobs for killing cats by mistake. But here's the twist. Egyptians also bred millions of these sacred animals, specifically to kill them as offerings to the gods. Entire industries existed to raise animals, mummify them, and sell them to worshippers as religious sacrifices. So while harming a sacred animal was forbidden, killing one properly was holy. Religion in ancient Egypt was full of contradictions, and people accepted them without question. Fact number 6. Pharaohs didn't always die of old age. Many were murdered. For a civilization obsessed with order and divine balance, ancient Egypt was surprisingly violent at the top. Recent studies using CT scans on royal mummies have revealed something shocking. Several pharaohs didn't die peacefully. They were assassinated. One of the most famous cases is Pharaoh Ramesses III. Scans show his throat was slashed so deeply that the wound would have killed him instantly. Court records later confirmed a palace conspiracy, led by one of his own wives, to put her son on the throne. Power in Egypt was absolute, and absolute power made enemies. Being declared a god on earth didn't make a pharaoh safe. It made him a target. Fact number 7. Ancient Egypt had strikes and worker protests. Ancient Egypt wasn't all blind obedience. In fact, history records the world's first known labor strike. And it happened over 3,000 years ago. During the reign of Ramesses III, tomb workers at Deir el-Medina stopped working because they hadn't been paid in grain. These weren't disposable workers. They were valued specialists. It's a reminder that even in one of history's most rigid societies, ordinary people still found ways to demand fairness. Fact number 8. Egyptian makeup wasn't just for beauty. It was medicine, that dramatic black eyeliner you see in Egyptian art. It wasn't just fashion. The dark kohl worn around the eyes contained lead-based compounds that helped prevent eye infections, especially important in a land filled with dust, insects, and harsh sunlight. Modern chemical analysis has shown that some of these compounds were artificially manufactured, meaning Egyptians intentionally created medical cosmetics. Men, women, rich, poor, everyone wore it. Beauty and health were inseparable in ancient Egypt. Looking good wasn't vanity. It was survival. Fact number 9, they removed the brain, but left the heart. During mummification, embalmers removed nearly every internal organ. But the brain? That was pulled out through the nose and thrown away. The heart, however, was sacred. Egyptians believed the heart, not the brain, was the center of intelligence, emotion, and morality. In the afterlife, the heart would be weighed against the feather of truth. If it was heavier, burdened by sin, the soul would be destroyed forever. Without a heart, there was no afterlife. It's strange by modern standards, but for them, it made perfect sense. They felt emotions in their chest. They thought with their heart. And in death, that belief mattered more than anatomy. Fact number 10. Ancient Egypt lasted longer than you think. When people talk about ancient Egypt, it sounds like a single era. In reality, it lasted over 3,000 years. That's longer than ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and the entire history of the United States combined. Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than to the building of the Great Pyramid. Languages changed, religions evolved, dynasties rose and fell. Ancient Egypt wasn't frozen in time. It adapted, survived, and reinvented itself again and again. That longevity is what makes it so fascinating. It wasn't just ancient, it was enduring. Ancient Egypt wasn't just a civilization of stone monuments and golden masks. It was a place of contradictions, scientific yet superstitious, orderly yet violent, advanced yet deeply symbolic. And the more we learn, the stranger it becomes. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unbelievable side of ancient Egypt, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story hiding in history.